This is the Ghost Keyboard's Pewdiepie K1 Pro mechanical keyboard. For sure I'm a bit late to the party on this one, but I only really bought it due to the clearance sale Ghost Keyboards are currently having on Pewdiepie stuff. It's roughly 30% off all sites, and today I'll run you through the strip down, my mods and my thoughts on the quality of this keyboard. So the keyboard is 60% layout, has 5-pin hot-swappable PCB, screw-in stabilizers, foam dampening between the plate and PCB, has 34 Underglow LEDs, full RGB with north-facing LEDs, no cherry profile keycaps for this one, but why would you? It's a themed keyboard. It's got Bluetooth 5.1, USB-C and snap-on case magnets because we really needed those. Custom keycaps are double shot PBT Pewdiepie wave keycaps with black custom wave WASD keycaps. The secondary functions are on the underside of these keycaps, of which there are many, with this being a 60% keyboard. The case is a custom translucent acrylic number with the Pewdiepie waves. As you can see, the keyboard came with Gateron reds, which are the only option available, but it is hot swap, so you can put whatever you want in there. So the first negative from me is that the switch puller that came with the keyboard does not fit between the case and the switch on the top and bottom rows, and to be honest, neither would most switch pullers. This is irritating and also surprising how often it happens. As you can see, the plate is painted white, I assume steel. I don't like these, mainly because they use matte paint quite often, and when they use matte paint it gets scratched to hell while removing the switches. This is a really bad idea on a hot swap keyboard. And then I come on to my next bad point, which is this.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Self-tapping screws have no place in keyboards. Self-tappers are a one and done screw. By that I mean you screw something to something else with the intention of it never coming apart again. I get that arguably this isn't designed to be taken apart, even though modding is common in the hobby, but there should be brass insert nuts in the case so as proper small bolts can be used. The next bad point was that the battery connector is soldered to the PCB right next to an LED, so you can't actually disconnect it here without bending the whole terminal off the PCB, which is obviously a bad move. They did put a second connector on the wire itself to account for this, but still, it's a bit clumsy. Next is a good point, and that is that I really like it when keyboards, especially budget keyboards, come with dampening between the plate and the PCB. A KBD fan's module foam kit will run you about €20 here in Europe, so this saves a chunk of money when modding budget keyboards. Case dampening isn't so important as it's much easier to make yourself than plate foam. I've tried to show here that I've made some scratches in the plate paint with the switch puller when pulling the switches out. You can't see them very well on camera, but they are pretty noticeable in reality. I don't know why they wouldn't just use unpainted aluminium for the plate. The cost of using a steel plate plus the cost of the paint can't be much cheaper, and it's not nice having to scratch the hell out of it while you get the switches out. The stabilizers are pre-lubed in the stem to get rid of the rattle caused by the wire. They were pretty good stock, as you can see in the comparison sound test at the end of this video, or in the stock sound test I uploaded a few videos ago on the channel, or you can click on the card in the top right hand corner now to have a look at that video. And that's the keyboard stripped down. Let's start modding. Don't forget to drop a like, maybe a comment, and please consider subscribing to the channel. So first up are the stabs. As I said, they were good with just the pre-lubed wires and stems, so I'm just going to lube the stems and housings. I'll re-lube the wires, and then I'll syringe lube in the stems around the wires. The stems are already flush on the bottom, as you can see here, so there's no need to clip them. I wanted to put some dampening in the bottom of the case, and I decided to go with black foam cut undersized to maintain the underglow. The underglow is created by the 34 outer LEDs running around the outside of the underside of the PCB. I also need to tailor the foam pad for the mounts, battery, cable and switch. So that's most of the case foam cutting done, and we need to get the plate and PCB back together before finishing it off. I syringe lubed the stabs and tested them to check for rattle before getting into assembly. I've gone for the PE foam mod on this one as well because it's one of my favourites. I always cut around the stabilisers and make switch pads using PE foam for those switches afterwards. But in this case I made a mistake with the cut, so I have another 6 switch pads to make for the switches above the spacebar. Cutting the switch pads out of the same PE foam gives the same result as like a full single pad. I've done a full keyboard before this way as I didn't want to take it apart, and it works perfectly. It just takes some time. When doing the PE foam mod, I just cut out the centre hole of the switch in the PCB before inserting the switches, and then the rest of the pins cut their own holes pretty nicely while inserting the switch. As you can see, I'm using some Gateron Milky Yellows, which I've lubed and filmed. These are the best budget linear switch in most people's opinions, and are perfect for a budget build or a budget mod like this one. So all that's left to do is install the keycaps and make sure I've maintained that sweet underglow. So let's hear the final result with a comparison sound test between stock and modded.